Nowadays, socializing is easier said than done. I mean, believe me, you could tell someone to talk to that person, and chances are is that they're gonna be contemplating it on whether they should actually engage on that conversation or not. Well, there is a much more different version of socializing, and that is when it involves your relatives. Or let's say you guys had a reunion. Now, reunions or family reunions, which I'm sure that you have experienced once in a while, is really different if you don't have someone of your own age or someone with the same age gap as yours, or if you never really had someone who has a close relationship with them. And when I'm saying close, I'm talking about where you feel comfortable just talking to them. Because there's a common misconception between actual close relationship and just biological close relationship. Like, trust me, I do believe that it is really normal, or it is normal to feel like you don't feel somewhat connected to your own relatives or your whole relatives when you are still young. But sometimes it gets a bit hard to actually deal with those situations. Now, what situations am I talking about? I'm talking about situations where most of the time you are left with no one beside you other than yourselves. And of course, you don't want to feel lonely on a family event, so you try fitting in with them. You try joining them, you try listening to their stories, all of that, listen to their advices. They ask you questions: how old are you? Do you have a girlfriend or something? And no matter how many times you try doing so, you somehow still feel lonely. Like, I don't know if this is getting onto you guys, but I'm basically just sharing my experience whenever I go or attend our own family reunions. Because you see, when it comes to family reunions, I tend to not really connect to them that much. I mean, sure, I am I'm not antisocial, or it's not the fact that I don't know how to socialize. It's more of the fact that I just can't really see that much closure, or I don't really relate to them that much. I mean, maybe it's because I'm still a kid or like that, but it's tough, man. It really is. Now, I'm not trying to be emotional here. I mean, of course, it's normal. It's normal to feel like that whenever you're at a family reunion, or whenever you are somewhere in a place that is filled with crowded people. However, sometimes you need to face the truth that not every reunion shouldn't turn out like that. You should not always feel like you are invisible to that reunion. Rather, you should feel like you are actually part of it. That you're one of the cogs or the wheels of that reunion as to why it happened in the first place. Now, reunions thing so you're supposed to enjoy reunions. That's the sole purpose of reunions, to reunite each other for now, and to actually have fun as a whole family or as a whole relative. Now, this is going to be my message for you if you are going to be attending a family reunion, or basically just any events that involves relatives, such as weddings, uh, family meetups, or birthdays, or anything. Basically, my advice for you is, and this is coming from someone who's still has problems with being more open to family reunions. Now I'm telling you to listen to me because believe me, these are the things that I could teach you or could make your family reunion less lonelier. Because I know some of you guys will feel lonely so whenever you are just alone on that reunion. Now I use the term alone when you really don't have someone to relate to, or if you're just by yourself most of the time. I mean, the easy way to counter that loneliness is basically just pulling your phone and just scrolling mindlessly through social media, but for me that sounds way more lonely because bro, everyone's having fun and you're just inside just playing games, staring at a screen, just like what you did back home. Don't do that if I were you. Like, I know I'm not that. I know you're probably expecting that from someone who is not really a fan of socializing too much with relatives or basically just anyone to say to you that just get on your phones. I'm not gonna tell you that. What I'd advise you to do is, now I know I said that it is harder or easier said than done, is to actually just try and engage with conversations towards your own relatives. Now, when I say engage, you don't necessarily need to start them yourselves. Instead, what I'd advise you to do is just, I suppose, try listening onto their own conversations if you could relate to them. Like, just don't make yourself feel lonelier. At least try making yourself feel connected towards them. And of course, after that you might still feel lonely, but at least that is progress. Because that's how you connect to people. You connect to them by listening to them first. And of course, if they ask you some questions, just answer whatever in whatever way you want. And of course, man, just enjoy family reunions, okay? Like, don't be like me or like me before, where I just go in full invisible towards every family or everyone, where I feel unnoticed, because that is what you are gonna be feeling if you are just alone in those family reunions. You're going to feel like a ghost or invisible. You won't feel noticed. You're just like a furniture. And if you even try to if you even try to stir up the attention to yourself, it's gonna feel awkward. But trust me, man, you really don't want to feel that. Like, I'm sure you've heard this quote where you actually feel more lonelier if you are surrounded by tons of people. Now that's true. And imagine that if those people are your relatives. Now that's even more sad. Basically, just like if you don't have someone to connect to, which is impossible, I'm sure you will find someone to connect to in your own family relatives or your family reunions. Just at least do me a favor and try. connecting to that family reunion itself. Don't just be that one guy who just sits down by himself and stares at a blank space. Because bro, this reunion is also about you. You are part of this reunion. So do your contributions by just actually making the reunion itself. Or just by actually being more social. So yeah. In conclusion, just sorry, I blanked out a bit. In conclusion, just go ahead and connect with people, connect with your relatives, because that's way more easier than you being alone on that reunion. It's your choice. You either be lonely or you try being more happy. It's the same as in family reunion. It's your choice whether you want to feel like you're alone, or it's your choice as to whether you want to feel like you're part of it. And don't worry too much on what they are gonna be thinking about you. Don't give a shit about it. If they think that if they think something bad or wrong to you, just don't give a shit. Or if they judge you in some sort of any way that offends you, just don't give a shit. Just go ahead and be yourself. At least by the end of the day, you could say, or you could say to yourself that you never really had a regret that you tried. So yeah, I'm basically just going on right now, but yeah, just do those.